my gosh, so 2 new items are coming to Pokemon Unite trainers and I think it's going to be crazy. Hi trainers, I'm Teeds, this is Nuts. If you don't know, Cursed Incense and Cursed Bangle I think are meant to come out today. I think it'll actually be meta shifting. These are just some early thoughts, but testing has been done and I want to share these testings with you and I'm gonna geek out a little bit. It's been a while since I've done one of these math videos, but I really want to just dive into it because it's just so fun knowing the specifics, the mathematics of something. And don't worry, it's not going to be like numbers. I'm just going to explain it to you how this item is going to work and how insane it is. So these testings are also posted by iAnt. iAnt test patch notes has released them earlier so we can see what's coming to the live client, and Alchica Eevee shares them a lot as well. So he's done this a lot in the past for us already. Cursed Incense and Cursed Bangle. Cursed Incense is the special attack item and Cursed Bangle is the physical attack item. They're both the same thing, just one for special, one for physical. When special attack base or physical base damage is dealt to opposing Pokemon, their HP recovery effect is weakened by up to 30% for 1.5 seconds. So if you use an ability, it will reduce their HP recovery effect up to 30%. The HP recovery effect is weakened for 3 seconds instead when dealing damage to opposing Pokemon with special attack based basic attacks. So it's longer if you use basic attacks instead. Both items also come with stats as well, just adding a bit of damage to your Pokemon. Already this is really interesting to me. It's the first anti-heal to come to Pokemon Unite. Basically, you just won't be able to heal as much as you usually would. It's about time Pokemon Unite got some anti-heal, although I really think it's going to destroy healers quite a bit. So iAnt has discovered that it does affect you for the goal heal. So if you score but you have the effect on you, then it will heal you less. So that is something to keep note of. And it has an internal 1 second cooldown. You can just keep refreshing it, which is really interesting as well. You will get like 2, like you can see here, one of the items is already on Mamoswine. But this is really interesting. So some more things were discovered and I'd like to make a list of them. With Delphox's ult, heal decrease will be increased up to 80%. So usually Delphox's Unite move will decrease healing by 50% and the item gives you another 30%. So it is equal up to 80%. It was 1,488, but it came down to 297. So here we have Mamoswine. This is before he's affected by any anti-heal items. He doesn't have the Unite move on him. This is just how much he normally heals for 1,488. But then in the Unite move and with the abilities on him and stuff, it is now brought down to 297. This is extremely big. That is a lot of heal to be taken away from you. So usually it is 50% from Delphox, which is I think around 744 from 1,488. So 744 he would heal in Delphox's Unite move if it was just 50%. However, it is 80% with the item, so it's brought down to 297. That is a big increase. It sounds like it sounds so insane. It does also work for Focus Band too. So Focus Band is a popular item in Pokemon Unite that heals you once you reach a certain threshold when you get really low. It's a really good item for saving you in those really clutch moments, but usually it heals you for 100%. However, because you get 30% taken away from the item, it goes down to 70%, which is 403 for Little Goodra here. So it does affect Focus Band. It will affect items, it seems. It affects on the goal zones. It is crazy. Of course, it works on healing from various skills too. For example, Goodra's ult heal has been decreased to 184 from 264. So Pokemon with self heals are gonna struggle as well. And even your base. Home will not be a safe place to heal. Curse items will decrease the base heal as well, which is crazy to me. So you have reduction from base heals, reduction from self heals, reduction from other people healing you, reduction from everything, lifesteal. These items will reduce healing for everything. I feel like it's going to make a difference in our games, but we will see when it actually comes out to the live client. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. Delphox could actually stack both items, but it's very specific. Usually, I don't think you can do this, but Delphox can do this in this specific scenario. So here we have Delphox's Unite move surrounding the Snorlax. You can see the bottom here that the items are being triggered. So Delphox does have the physical item and the magical item equipped. Snorlax is healing for reduced healing, of course, because he has anti-heal on him. You can see that at this point, it's just the magical item. It is constantly refreshing because of the magical damage. And then when Delphox uses a basic attack right about here, because Delphox has physical basic attacks but has special attack abilities, it gets triggered. And then when this happens, when both are applied, Snorlax stops healing. He doesn't heal anymore and he can't use potion because his healing is in the negatives. The Unite move is 50% reduced healing plus the magical item, it's 30%. 30%, so it's 80%. But somehow he was able to get the basic attack in, and then it's 110% because from the other item it's another 30%. So Snorlax was on 110% anti-heal and just couldn't heal at all. However, I would like to point out that normally it should work like this. You wait until Bangle or Incense's debuff is gone and then you can apply the other buff, is what he says. So you actually usually can't put them all at the same time. You usually have to wait and then you can apply the next one. Is what I'm getting at from here. He does say, because this was just really interesting to me because I don't know if it's a glitch. He says that it's not able to be stacked, but in a certain way it can be stacked. So the whole thing is a little bit confusing, but mind you, I do think his first language is Korea because it's Korean here. Otherwise it was just sharing your thoughts without like, you know, having a YouTuber read them. Maybe I'm not too sure to explain to everyone. I thought this was really interesting. If I had to guess, I would assume that since you started with Delphox's ult on the first clip, it used the incense, which was having it on cooldown, being rapidly reset, and within those resets the Bangle was also activated and had both effects. So technically it could work on any move that is a long-lasting AoE that ticks damage. So that is something really interesting to think about. Of course it would be something cool to test. I can't test it right now because it's not out yet, but he does say that stacking can be possible for any Pokemon that can hold the items. I think what they mean is for any Pokemon that maybe can have physical basic attacks and magical damage, or vice versa maybe, but it would depend. It's just interesting. It just works here for 110%. It's insane. You just don't heal at all. Like imagine putting this in a Unite team fight with this big AoE. It's just a lot of anti-heal. It's crazy. Okay, so this is just my early thoughts and doesn't apply to all Pokemon, but I just have a few examples. We can see that the item works super well on Pokemon that have tick-based abilities, okay? So you have a lot of tick-based damage. It's constantly being applied from an ability that has tick base. It does last shorter, so it's 1.5 seconds if you get the anti-heal with an ability on both physical or magical based Pokemon, which leads me to think it could be better on Pokemon who are more basic attack focused because the duration is 3 seconds long versus the 1.5 seconds. Just because, you know, not every Pokemon uses their basic attacks as well as other Pokemon, like, you know, for example, Cinderace. So for example, Cinderace could really benefit off this item because there's just constant fast basic attacks coming out of Cinderace, so that anti-heal is probably being applied throughout the whole fight against somebody. And with abilities, you're sometimes limited to the cooldown of the ability. If it's a long ability cooldown, you can be limited. However, you could probably use this on, like, for example, Delphox's really low cooldown moves, the ping pong one. This is just an early thought because I don't know how the refresh works 100%, but you can just probably keep refreshing things with the ability and the basic attack at the same time. Melee Pokemon, maybe like certain defenders, for example, might have a harder time doing this because obviously if you're a ranged character, you can apply the basic attacks easier, but if you're a melee character, you might rely more on your abilities to apply this anti-heal, and then once you get to them to use your basic attacks. Like for example, do you remember when Garchomp couldn't stick on an enemy? You would have to rely solely on his abilities for 1.5 seconds to get it on them until you reach up to them with your basic attack. It's just kind of like a interesting thought. Another interesting thought that I had as well, that it could actually be worse on Delphox or any Pokemon that have 2 types of damage. Now hear me out. It should be fine for Delphox if she's using the low cooldown move, but if she was using the other moveset that had the longer cooldowns, let's just say, I'm just going to use Delphox as an example, but Delphox has physical based basic attacks and magical abilities. If she were to equip one item, if she were to equip just the magical one to get it on her abilities, her basic attacks won't actually apply the debuff. So that is something really important to think about. If you do use it on a Pokemon who has 2 separate damages, they actually don't get that debuff on one of their types of damage. Whereas Pokemon who have the same type of damage will get the effect on both. I'm really interested to see how this impacts the meta, because right now we do know that Mewtwo with a Blissey is the scariest thing to come upon us on Pokemon Unite. Also back then, Zacian and Comfey. I think it should really affect the healing side of these Pokemon. However, will it affect the Pokemon itself? I don't know. Maybe the Pokemon itself will also wear this item and then we just can't heal it, even though we weren't probably out healing it anyway. I do want to know if this counters the meta at all or anything. For me, I feel like it's going to change something. There was a bunch of new items released in Pokemon Unite, and you know, for example, the spoon has really made an impact in Pokemon Unite. Really has made an impact. But then there are some items that just haven't, like Drain Crown, for example, or Rescue Hood. These items just, I just want a glow up. up. Like, you know, how XP share went from one of the worst items in the game to one of the best items in the game. And I do think we need to work on more of the items as well, but I am happy that there is now a counter to healing, and I think there should be more items to counteract things. The unfortunate thing is that if the enemy team doesn't have any massive heals that would affect the game by a lot, then the anti-heal item may just come nullified. Like, you won't be able to really make use of it because no one on the enemy team is healing for a lot. But if you're in a high rank or you're just climbing ranked in general, you're most likely going to go against people who are using meta picks. So this should counter some of the meta, unless you're like a lower rank class and people just play like anything. But that can also happen in any ranked game. Maybe competitively will make a lot of a difference because there's draft picks, but we will see. The problem is a lot of players love to have the item that deals the most damage equipped, and because Pokemon Unite is just so casual sometimes compared to other MOBAs, like I just don't think there's as much teamwork involved at times. Getting someone to play an anti-heal item for the team, the one that's most suitable for it, might not do it. I don't know, but we'll see. That is just my early thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below, trainers. Really interesting stuff. I'm very excited to see everything to come out about this item. I think the math code will probably have some more insights about the item as well, but these are just my early thoughts based on iAnt's testing, and it just looks pretty crazy so far. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'd love to know your thoughts when it actually comes out as well. Thanks for watching, trainers. Bye!